Hello, welcome to a festive edition of RetroCore. And what better way to celebrate this festive edition of the show than with a console that I got for Christmas in 1988. Yes, that is the underrated Sega Master System. Let's check it out. Man, am I glad to get that suit off. So let's start off this new RetroCore where we're going to take a look at the Sega Master System. Now maybe you thought the Sega Master System was a loser's machine with no games worth playing. Well, if you're from Europe, that definitely wasn't the case because the Sega Master System was extremely popular in Europe and the UK where I'm originally from. In fact, when we watched American TV shows and they said they played Nintendo, we thought, what a bunch of losers. So why did we think the Sega Master System was so good? Let's take a look at the hardware. The Sega Master System. The Sega Master System was originally released as the Sega Mark III in Japan back in October 1985. It was extremely advanced for the time, displaying up to 64 colors at once using programming tricks, although most games were limited to 32. Still, back in 1985 this made the Famicom, Japanese NES, 13 colors on screen look rather primitive. The Mark III could also output RGB as standard, giving it superior image quality to any other console of the time. This is one feature that was retained for all models of the first Master System. One feature only really practical in Japan, however, is the backwards compatibility with the SG-1000. All SG-1000 games will run on the Mark III and Japanese Master System. They technically can also run on Western systems if you have a cartridge adapter. It can be said that the weakest point of the Master System is its sound capabilities. The original Mark III and Western Master System shipped with a Texas Instruments 4-channel mono PSG chip with 3 sound generators, 4 to 10 octaves each, and 1 white noise generator. This gives the system a unique sound but limited in some respects. In Japan, an FM sound unit was released for the Mark III and built into the Japanese Master System as standard when it was released in October 1987. This gave games a real boost in audio quality. Let's check out the difference. Because the Japanese model of the Master System was not released until October 1987, it was fortunate enough to receive much needed updates over the Western model, which are basically the Sega Mark III in a different case. The Japanese model shown here uses a smaller cartridge slot to maintain compatibility with the existing Mark III and Sega SG-1000 game library. It also has the FM audio chip built in as well as the Western PSG audio. There's a 3D glasses port right on the front of the machine, where Western systems need an adapter that plugged into the system's card slot. And finally, there's a rapid fire button right on the console, where the reset button should be. Games for the Master System came on card or cartridge. The cards were really cute, just like PC Engine cue cards, but were deemed unpopular due to the 256KB size limit. These were swiftly dropped in favour of cartridges, which could hold up to 4 megabits of data. In the West, games came in typical Mega Drive-like clamshell boxes. In Japan, however, it was quite different. Cards came in these cool little packs that had the manual tucked away. The cartridge games came in standard cardboard boxes and were known as gold cartridges. Third-party published games came on so-called silver cartridges. There's only 2 of these, both being Tecmo released games, Solomon's Key and Rygar. Many people in the United States think that the Master System was a massive failure, but that couldn't be any further from the truth. It was extremely popular in Europe, Brazil, Australia and South Korea, easily outselling Nintendo's NES. In total, the Master System sold over 20 million units worldwide, with over 350 officially released titles, and up till now, around 50 known unofficial titles. Not bad for the system that was supposedly a failure. The Sega Master System! So now you know a little bit more about the hardware and the software variations, let's take a look at some of that software in action with one of my favourite games of the time, Afterburner. Many years ago, back when Afterburner first came out on the Master System, I thought it was a steaming heap of crap. But these days, I appreciate it for what it was trying to achieve. Porting a Super Scalar arcade to the Master System was no easy feat, but the developers have managed to pull off a rather good port. Despite the choppy on-screen action, the game plays rather well. I also like the renditions of the arcade's music in this Japanese version, as it makes use of the Yamaha FM sound chip. Some may think this game is a little difficult. Well, don't you worry, because thanks to an oversight in the development, you can cheat for the first 11 stages by keeping your F-14 Tomcat banked into one of the 4 corners. Nothing will touch you. Sure, you can't touch the enemy either, but at least you can save all your lives until stage 11 is over. From there on, you've got to work for your victory. This is Spellcaster, a fantastic action RPG based upon the Japanese anime and manga Kujaku-Oh. In fact, this game in its Japanese form features the main character wearing a robe, which looks much cooler. You may even know the Mega Drive follow-up known as Mystic Defender in the West, but as Kujaku-Oh 2 in Japan. Again, the Japanese version looks cooler. Unlike the Mega Drive follow-up, here we have a side-scrolling action game interspersed with RPG elements that drive the story along. While the decisions you make are not that taxing, choosing the wrong one can prevent you from moving on to the next stage. As you can see, the graphics are rather pretty and include quite a lot of detail, such as animation on the characters' faces during cutscenes. The music is also excellent, pushing the atmosphere of the game. Spellcaster isn't that difficult, so hardcore gamers may feel it's lacking, but to most of us, this is an excellent addition to the Sega Master System's library. Double Dragon was the game that everyone talked about before Final Fight was a thing, so it was obvious that Sega would want a piece of the action. What we get is a game that shows off the colour capabilities of the Master System. Lovely detailed backgrounds throughout. Unfortunately, the character sprites are on the small side and flicker like crazy if they are all lined up together. There's also a crapload of slowdown, but then again, the arcade had that too. On the plus side, I love the fact that this is a 2-player simultaneous title. Back in 1987, my brother and I would play this port for hours on end. We really enjoyed it despite its flaws. Talking of which, the controls will take a while to become accustomed to. All of the moves of the arcade are in there, such as the headbutt, the elbow smash, and roundhouse kick. However, something as basic as a jump is performed by pressing punch and kick together. Then there's the collision detection, which is kinda vague. Funnily enough, the enemy has no issues in pummeling you to the ground. Still, we love this game, and even now I like to get it out now and then for a quick session. It's beyond a doubt that Aladdin on the Mega Drive is one of the most beautifully animated games of the 16-bit age. So it seems only fitting that its little brother on the Master System was just as good. In fact, considering the Master System's capabilities, I'd say it's better. Upon starting Aladdin for the first time, you'd be forgiven in thinking this was nothing more than one of those endless runner games. Play on to the third stage and you'll find it's actually a darn good action platformer with a hint of Prince of Persia in the controls. The whole game is a wonderful experience. I personally love the cutscenes, which are presented in abundance. These tell the story of the animated movie in quite some detail, linking each section of the game together. It really is quite something for the Master System. And need I even talk about the graphics? They're gorgeous! I actually became hooked playing this game for the review. The combination of the platforming and basic puzzles along with the story kept me wanting to play on and on just to see what was next. A lot of people don't talk about Aladdin on the Master System, often deciding to talk about Mickey or Donald instead. I hope in the future that will change, as this is definitely in the camp of quality Disney games. In the 1980s, zombies weren't cool unlike now, and movies were all about big hulking men covered in baby oil. One such movie that gained a massive following was Conan the Barbarian, starring Arnie. No doubt Taito saw this movie and swiftly ripped it off with Rastan. I loved Rastan in the arcade. The mythical setting, the action, and the creatures made it one of those games you'll never forget. Porting such an action-packed game to the Master System was never going to be arcade perfect. However, Sega, who reprogrammed this one, have actually come up trumps. This is the only console port of the game. The levels in this port are shorter, but also pack in more enemies and traps, keeping you on your toes. There's also an extra level at the end of the game and extra boss, which is massive, taking up over half of the screen. Sadly, play mechanics are a little different to the arcade game. You can no longer move when you swing your weapon, which kind of impacts the flow, but on the bright side, you no longer die when landing in water or lava. Instead, your energy slowly depletes. This is a welcoming change for sure. Another welcoming change is the boss battles. Each boss has slightly been redesigned with new abilities, making the gameplay more enjoyable as a result. Fantasy Zone is great, but Fantasy Zone 2 is even better. I don't even think I've seen any other 8-bit game as colourful as this one. The whole thing screams sunglasses. It's that bright. So why is Fantasy Zone 2 better than the original? Well, first there's the warp zones. In the original game, the warp zones sent you straight to the boss, but in this game, it sends you to an all new area. This means that each stage can have 3 different areas with their own enemies. This expands the areas incredibly, adding to the fun factor of finding every last base. Once you've destroyed all of the bases, a warp will then take you to the boss. The shop has also been improved with a nice selection of power-ups, but sadly, these are still on a timer. However, on the plus side, the shop is always present so you can visit right before entering a boss battle. Get powered up and then head on over to the warp gate for some serious ass whooping of the stage boss. The original Fantasy Zone is known for being rather tough, and this is no different, but here the challenge is fair, whereas in the original it could be rather frustrating at times. Yes, that's right, Ys also made it to the Master System, and it's a pretty good port. For those who don't know, Ys is a massive RPG franchise in Japan, with the first game being extremely popular in Japan. It was produced by Falcom for many Japanese platforms, with Sega doing the Master System in-house. For some reason though, Sega decided to flip the layout of the dungeons on the Master System release. This doesn't make any difference to the gameplay, but can seem a little off to those who have played the game on another system. Falcom games are always known for their excellent soundtracks, and Ys on the Master System is no different, with this FM compatible release. Just check out the music score. The music was composed by 2 legends, Yuzo Koshiro and Mieko Ishikawa. Yuzo Koshiro is well known by Sega fans for his bare-knuckle Streets of Rage soundtrack. Michiko Ishikawa on the other hand may not be. However, she has composed the music for many Falcom games such as Dragon Slayer, Popful Mail and Sorcerian, again with Yuzo Koshiro. The battle system in Ys may not be to everyone's taste. You don't actually attack enemies, more than walk into them. This system is odd, but you get used to it after a while. The Master System has its fair share of RPGs, but you'd be silly to pass up on one of its best. Ys is right up there with the awesome Phantasy Star. In fact, it may even precede it, thanks to the wonderful soundtrack. Some excellent games there in the first part of the show, and I've got to say, I really did enjoy myself actually filming all those games. I didn't think I would, but going back to the Sega Master System after all these years really did put a smile on my face. One of my favourite games I did try out in the first part of the show is this one running in the background, Spellcaster. I never used to like this game as a kid. I always thought it was a bit difficult, but going back to it now, I really got into it. It's quite a good action platform RPG hybrid. Anyway, There are loads more games for the Sega Master System to take a look at, so let's jump back in with some more games. For a while, Alex Kidd was Sega's main mascot before the days of Sonic. He's also one that never really appealed to me. I've never really enjoyed any of the Alex Kidd games either. Yeah, I know, I'm in the minority here, but that's just how it was until I played Alex Kidd in Shinobi World. Now, this is a game I really do like, but man, is it tough in places. Alex has a variety of attacks at his disposal. His main attack is his katana, which, while effective, could do with a longer reach. Throughout the stages, Alex can find extra weapons which can aid him greatly. These are in the form of shurikens, sword powered-ups, and a magic ball, which can allow Alex to transform into a tornado. Think of it as his ninja magic. As you can probably tell from this video, Alex Kidd in Shinobi World plays nothing like the typical Alex Kidd game. It's more in line with Shinobi, which is no bad thing. Unfortunately, there are only 4 rounds to the game, which means finishing it won't take you that long, once all the enemy patterns are learned. Still, for the quick little distraction, you can do a lot worse than this game. This is Cloudmaster, a game that was ported to many systems, but none looked as nice as this Master System port during the time of its release. Or at least I think so. It's still not clear who the developer of the Master System port was, but it's said to be Opera House, a small third-party developer from Japan who are still around today making Switch titles. Whoever was responsible for this port did a great job. There's very little sprite flicker, and what sprites we can see are beautifully drawn. The game also plays extremely well. I love the little shops that pop up throughout the game allowing you to buy power-ups. But what I don't love are the restart points. There seems to be only 2 restart points throughout a level, meaning that if you die, it's either back to the very beginning, or if you're lucky, you can start off at a halfway point. This is a mid-80s shooter though, so it's to be expected. You'll read many reviews claiming Sega intended Kei Senden to be a Castlevania killer. Actually, it wasn't at all intended as that. This was more in line with other Japanese samurai style games of the late 80s. You play as a 16th century hero named Hayato. It's your mission to get back the 5 secret scrolls and the sword of the Dragon Lord that was stolen by warlocks. Once the first stage is complete, you are given the choice to select where you'll go from there on. The areas are actually based upon all prefectures of Japan, which is kind of cool. They do look kinda similar, mind you. There's a total of 16 areas to explore along with 7 bosses to take out. As you can see, Ken Seiden is a stunning game to look at, but unfortunately it's rather frustrating to play. The main problem is that the demons can attack from all sides and often appear right in front of you, giving you little time to get into position for attack. It also doesn't help that Hayato is rather stiff in movement. If only he was a little more flexible, the gameplay would be greatly improved. As it stands though, this is a lovely looking, but rather frustrating game. When I was a kid, around 11 years old, I thought that Golvellius was the greatest game ever, though I sucked big time at it. I probably thought that the music was excellent, which it is, and I loved the mixture of side and overhead sections. These days, I still love the game and have appreciated it more over the years. And yes, it's still an awesome title. This was the Master System's answer to the mighty Legend of Zelda, and it's one to be proud of. It's bigger, more colourful, and arguably sounds better. It's also one of the few games I think sounds better in PSG rather than FM. You play as Kalisis, a young boy set with the task of stopping Golvellius, rescuing the princess and recovering a load of crystals. No pressure then. In order to do this, Kalisis must travel the Valley of Doom, killing anything that stands in his way, as well as exploring dungeons and taking out bosses. Not to worry, on your travels you will come across helpful characters who are willing to upgrade your life for a little gold. There's also a bitchy fairy who will give vague clues to guide you on your right path. If you've never played Golvellius, I urge you to try it. It's one of the better action RPGs of the mid to late 80s. R-Type on the Sega Master System is nothing less than total awesomeness. The fact that they could get the entire game onto what was then a massive 4MB cartridge was truly something special. It comes as no surprise that Compile were the developers behind this awesome port. I love how they got the feel and look of the arcade on hardware far less powerful than the arcade machine. Compile also did an amazing job on the soundtrack, especially the FM soundtrack, which you're hearing here. R-Type on any platform is a tough game, with the Master System version being no exception to that. But if you're after a challenging shooter and want to impress your NES loving friends, this is the game to show them. Back in the mid-80s, Zillion was a very popular anime in Japan, and one that Sega had a hand in. Did you know that the Sega Master System light gun was modelled after the gun used in the Zillion anime, and Sega's own laser tag game called Zillion? Yes, it's true! This is the second Zillion game to appear on the Master System, and surprisingly, a game that got a Western release despite the anime not being aired in English. The game, as you can see, is a basic run and gun action title, with automatic scrolling driving sections thrown in here and there. These can be quite a challenge to anyone not accustomed to the game, but just like so many games of the time, it's all about trial and error. Is Zillion a good game? Well, it's no AAA title, that's for sure. However, it did entertain me as a kid, plus I loved the music, which as it turns out is the main title theme of the anime called Pure Stone. I love Shinobi in the arcades, so when I bought the Master System, I couldn't wait to get home and try it out. I can say that I was very happy with my purchase back in the day. While the game doesn't look as good as the arcade release, it does play well, even if it does have a strange scrolling animation for the jumps, and that the bonus screens are annoying. I really love the colours used in this game. It gives a look of quality despite the choices being rather odd at times. I also like the soundtrack. Again, the tunes are not the best you'll hear, but they are memorable. Tell you what, this show just gets better and better. I just cannot believe how much I've missed the Sega Master System, especially with such excellent ports as this one here, R-Type. I forgot how good it was on the system. Anyway, there's loads more games to take a look at and we just don't have time to show them all, so let's do a montage. So that's it for this episode of Retro Core. Unfortunately, I can't show you all the games on the Sega Master System, because if I did, we'd be here forever. Anyway, what do you think of the Sega Master System now? Do you still think it's a lame machine? Did you have one when you were a kid? And if you didn't, would you buy one now? Or do you think the machine is still pretty lame? Let me know in the comments down below. All I can say is that I think the machine was pretty good back then, and I still think it's pretty good now. Don't forget to join me in the next Retro Core special, where we'll be taking a look at the Fujitsu FM Towns. Oh yes. But until then, keep on gaming and enjoy your games.